so often in these spaces, we forget that families do and youth do feel isolated in these types of situations. I mean, to be quite honest with you, my journey was quite interesting because I called the police on my son, and I was anticipating when the police came that they would somehow scare him into acting right. And when he arrived to the juvenile detention center, because that I called the police, I was quite shocked by his uniform. I walk in, I see him, he see me. He's handcuffed. He's got on this uniform, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, I did this to him. I called the police that led to him in the juvenile detention center. Now I'm in family court." So there was so much shame and guilt that I had that I don't think sometimes people recognize what happens to families when they're desperate for support. And there's this common language that or narrative that's constantly told to parents when trying to get services. Well, you might have to wait till he gets in trouble, or when they get in trouble with the law, and then that's when all the resources will come. Well, that's not proactive, right? And so I think for me, one of the things that the court can do and the system can do in terms of serving families is really create spaces. And I really want to say safe spaces, because not a safe space really requires a lot of work and intentionality when we're talking about families who are coming in hurt and ashamed and isolated and have lost their community, have lost their families, have lost a lot because their child might be struggling with mental health, that might lead into some behaviors that lead into criminality. And like, it's all of those things. And so you start to lose a lot along the way. And I don't think sometimes the court takes or even sees the amount of loss that a family has to lose, and then they show up to court in a place that you don't know. I might see my neighbor, I might see my cousin, I might see some folks that in my community, and this might be a place of shame for me. And so I think that courts have to do a better job of really culturally creating atmospheres and experiences for families where they get that support from other parents who have that lived experience. And so I think that we've been really doing a great job in Michigan around serving families, but there's so much work to do because families don't trust the system. And so I think part of this, again, is creating atmospheres and experiences so families can learn how to trust and partner with systems so that they can get the support that they need and the resources to serve their families. But that takes, again, intentionality, but it also takes ingenuity and to have an imagination, because this work really requires a host of that and shifting how we do business. Some of the old stuff isn't working. And so we've got to look at creative ways to do that. And I think that's one way to do it.